overheats.
Why did they replace all this stuff? They just covered it.
Got a lot of pressure coming in, not so much pressure coming out, and time.
It's got to go for alignment.
The monitors aren't exactly.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Doug Browner. You know, today we're going to be talking about what's the difference between having a car fixed in a pro garage like ours or doing it at home. Well, there are some things that we do here in the professional setting that you really should, well, be aware of. And it all starts with being safe. And that's eyeglasses. Oh yeah, and these things. Well, the days of having dirty hands as a mechanic are over, and that's just not because we want our hands to be clean. But we now know that long-term exposure to petroleum products on our hands can actually contribute to some cancers. That's why if you want to be safe and a pro, you use gloves. And you know, another thing that we always do, whether we're literally under the hood or standing on the side of the cars, we use fender protection. I can't tell you how valuable these are. They run about $8. You can get them at your local auto parts store, and they really help us from scratching or ruining the paint on somebody's car. I see a lot of people who do their own work, and guess what? Fenders are all scratched up. Invest a few dollars, it'll pay off. So let's get a little technical. Right now we're doing a job that involves replacing the gasket on this intake manifold and on these valve covers. Take a look at this intake. You can see that it's, well, relatively older. But when I flip it around, you're gonna see that the mating surfaces here are dirty, and they absolutely are not ready for a new gasket. Preparing any surface that's going to be mated to another is incredibly important. Think of the gasket as the bologna in the sandwich. You want to have it lined up, nice and neat, and you want it to be as clean as possible. Take a look at this valve cover. These are often really a job that can go awry for the do-it-yourselfer, and here's why. Even if you get the bottom surface of this checked, if you look at it, they're just, well, thin tin. You need to make sure that the outer lip is straight and true, because no matter how much you tighten that down or how good the gasket is, these things can still leak. One thing you should never do is squirt all of that silicone sealant. This isn't a bathroom, and you don't caulk this kind of stuff. Use straight metal, a good quality gasket, and then you always torque the bolts to the spec that's supplied by the manufacturer. It's so simple if you do it right and if you slow it down and be thoughtful. And sure, when you're in a pro environment, yeah, we got all the toys, right? We got cordless impacts that are super heavy duty and they make the job a lot easier. But what they shouldn't do is make the job go more quickly. And that's because, in my opinion, fast auto repair is bad auto repair. If you see your tech shooting through a job and it just is going too quickly, chances are that he or she could be cutting a corner. With that said, should auto repair take a week, or as some of you out there have shared with me, a month? Absolutely not. Ask up front for a time promise, then make the garage stick to it. Job like this with intake manifold gasket, valve cover gaskets, 2 days, in and out, and it should run perfectly. And remember, always ask for your parts back, and always make sure they hit that estimate exactly. You don't want to pay more than you should, and remember Doug's rule, if it's more than 200 bucks, it's probably worth getting at least 2 estimates. Be safe in the garage. We'll do this again next week.